So now what we need to do is that we need to allow the user to book an appointment. And by the way, I have here changed the color of the table. You can change the color. You can do whatever you want. And now let's work on the allowing the user or the patient to book an appointment. How can we do that? To do that, we need to create a route, and we need to create a function that's going to allow the user to book that appointment. So here in the web.php, we need to create a route here. I'm going to create a route. I'm going to say route, and that route is going to here going to be post, and then I'm going to say book appointment, book book appointment, book appointment, and then the controller is going to be just project controller, and then the function is going to be book appointment, comma, and then book appointment, and the name is going to be name is just going to be book appointment. Now we need to work on the form. Remember, I have created here in the appointments.blade.php, I have created a form, and we need to add here input. So what do we want to pass with us in order to let the user book an appointment? What we want to pass is that we want to pass obviously the appointment ID. So I'm going to say here the type, the first one is going to be text, and the value is going to be equal to double curly braces and double quotes, and then double curly braces, and then appointment ID. And then we need to give it a name. I'm going to say name. The name is going to be appointment ID. Appointment ID. Next, we need to pass the department name. Department here. We need to say appointment and then department name, and then here department name, and finally we need to pass the date. The date is very, very important. So I'm gonna copy this, and then I'm gonna paste it below, and then I'm gonna say appointment, and then appointment date. Here it's gonna be appointment date, and here appointment date, and now here date. Now we need to give this form method. The method obviously is going to be post and action. So the action is going to be equal to double curly braces root, and then it is going to be the root that we created earlier, which is book appointment. And now we need to create the function. We need to create the book appointment function. So in the project controller, I'm going to create a function. I'm going to say here, I'm going to say public function, and then book appointment, and then request, and then what we need to do here is that we need to the logic here is a little bit complicated, but you need to pay attention to this because this is very, very important. This is one of the most important concepts that you need to understand, because otherwise you would miss out on a lot of important information. First of all, we need to get the data from the form. So we need to get the ID, the name, and the date. To do that, we already know that we can use the request and then input, and then we can access the first one. The first name is this appointment ID. So here I'm going to say appointment ID. And then I'm going to store it. Let me copy it first. And then I'm going to store it in a variable called appointment ID. Appointment ID. Second, we want to change. We want to get the we want to get the we want to get the department name and the department date or appointment date. Appointment date. So we need to get the department name here. Department name. And then I'm going to store it in a variable called department name. And finally, we need to get the appointment date. Appointment date. And then I'm going to store it in a variable called appointment date. Now, what we need to do is that we need to check whether the booking the booking has already been the appointment has been booked or not. Because if it has been booked, then we need to prevent the user from booking the same appointment as another user. And to do that, we need to use the booking model. So I'm going to say here booking, and make sure that you import it at the top. Make sure that you import here. Make sure that you say use and then app and then backslash models and then backslash booking. You need to add this code. And then here I'm going to say booking, and I'm going to say where the appointment ID appointment ID is equal to the appointment ID. Appointment ID. Then here I'm going to call a function called exists. So what does this mean? This line of code is going to go to the booking table, and then it's going to check whether the appointment has been booked or not. So here, if you go to the booking, the bookings now obviously is empty. But once we have bookings, it is going to check whether the ID exists or not, whether the appointment has already been booked or not. So if the appointment ID is here, it means that somebody has booked that before. So this is what it means, because the appointment ID is going to be unique. And